Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on April 18th, 2018. If you'd like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, to help assist you in picking your own numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This represents all 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 17, 19, 26, 61, and 62. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here, this is the color code right here. Okay, so here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So for this drawing here, I have 14 red numbers, 12 orange, 19 green, 16 blue, and 8 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 219. This represents how many color code drawings I kept track of so far, and these are the color code drawings. Okay, so out of this 219 drawings, 116 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 79 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 21 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 4 times out of 219 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just one color. Okay, so over here, this number 4, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there's a red, green, 2 orange, and a blue for 4 colors total. Okay, so how I use this is I try to correctly guess what the next number here is going to be. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, the overall strategy here, though, is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so how I look at this is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to bet that no purple numbers will be coming up. Okay, so when I look at this, and why I'm going to pick this is because when I go back to the history of things, purple numbers usually come up like 1 or 2 drawings, maybe 3 drawings, and then it misses. Okay, so I'll show you a miss here. Okay, so you can see that there's no purple numbers there. Okay, so as I go back to the history, I can see that there's been a bunch of purple numbers that have come up, okay, and in the recent drawings. Okay, so since it's come up like 6 drawings in a row here, I'm going to guess that it's going to miss a couple of drawings in a row. Okay, so another reason is that the purple numbers only represent 8 numbers for this drawing. Okay, now just a couple of weeks ago, this purple had 16 numbers to it. Okay, but now it only represents 8, and it's come up in the last couple of drawings here. So again, I just think it's going to miss. So my guess is that no purple numbers will be coming up. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these purple numbers off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no purple numbers to it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm paying $3 for a Powerball ticket, okay, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my pick and none of these purple numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, and how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. And over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the lottery. Again, it was the 17, 19, 26, 61, and 62. Okay, so that turns out to be a 3-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card and see what I'm talking about here. Okay, and what you're going to see is that there's 7 groups total. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so what I'm looking at here and what I'm going to go with for this drawing is I don't think any 20 numbers will be coming up. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, and I like to break things down into 5 for one reason. As I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count as far as 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on. Okay, but the other reason why I do it is because if I see a lot of hits within these 5 drawings here, within a certain group of numbers, then maybe the next 5 won't have so many hits, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 20 numbers over here. And the reason why is because a 20 number has come up in the last, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawings. Okay, so I just think that it's due to miss because it hit so many drawings in a row. Okay, so again, I'm going to eliminate the 20 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm just going to blow this back up. And I want to show you how I use this as well. Okay, so another way I could do things is I could just highlight like this 17, and I could go down through the history of it and see what colors have come up. Okay, so you can see right here it's red and green and blue. Okay, so the one thing that I haven't seen in a little while is an orange right here. Okay, and I haven't seen a purple one. Well, there's a purple right here. Okay, so there's all 5 colors, but the orange and purple haven't come up in a long time. Okay, so when this 17 hits that orange area, I might consider taking the 17 because it just hasn't hit orange in a very long time. Okay, so that's one way I could use it. That's another way I could use it, I should say. Okay, and then a third way I could use it is to try to correctly guess what this next number is going to be as a group. Okay, so most of the time it comes up before group combination. Okay, so as I go down through the history of things, you can see lots of 4s. Okay, and a close second is a 3-group combination. Okay, and then every once in a while a 5 will come up, and then every once in a blue moon a 2 will come up. Okay, so I'll show you a 2. Okay, so you can see that it was 220 numbers and 360 numbers. Okay, for 2 groups total. Okay, and I never seen a 1 before. I never seen all 5 white ball winning numbers like all the 60 numbers. Okay, so I haven't seen that yet. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think it's either going to be a 3 or a 4. Okay, so when I'm picking my numbers, okay, I don't want it to represent all one group of numbers like all the 60s here. Okay, I mean, it could happen, but as you see, for the history of things, it hardly ever happens, and it hasn't happened yet. Of course, that doesn't mean it can't happen, but I'm just going with the odds of what has happened. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. And again, my pick is that no 20 numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to scroll over to the right here. And now you can see that the game card, you can see what the game card looks like with no purple numbers to it from the color code. And now I'm adding no 20 numbers to it as well. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so hopefully I made the correct picks here. Okay, so if I did make the correct picks, then none of these blocked out numbers will be coming up. And that means that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so again, I want to eliminate more numbers. So I'm going to go to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups. And I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these groups down here in the stats. Okay, so this red is, of course, for the red area. The blue is for the blue area, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up again were the 17, 19, 26, 61, and 62. Okay, so the 17 is here. The 19 is here, and the 26 is right here, all in the red. So you can see that this 3 down here represents, again, that 17, 19, and 26. Okay, then over here in the green, you can see that the 61 and 62 is in the green. And you can see that there's a number 2 right here. And again, that represents that 61 and 62. Okay, so you can see that no winning Powerball numbers were in the blue area, and no winning Powerball numbers were in the orange area. Okay, so the strategy is with this is try to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better chance at picking those 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is I have 15 of these option cards, okay, and they all kind of look the same as far as the stats, as far as red, blue, orange, and green. I use those same 4 colors for all 15 option cards. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so you can see option card number 2 where the red numbers are. And then I'll go back to option card number 1, and you can see where the red numbers are over here. Okay, so just again a little bit different. Okay, and now you can see option card number 3, the red numbers are a little bit different, and option card number 4, you know. So again, the strategy is try to pick which one of these is going to have the 0 to it. Okay, so for me, for this first pick, I'm going to go with option card number 2, no orange numbers to it. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one, and we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so just because I go with this doesn't mean that you'll go with it. Okay, you might see something different. Okay, but the reason why I'm going to go with it is because every once in a while, a single 1 will come up like this right here. Okay, and it really happens a lot. So as I go down through, You're going to see a single one over here, single one over here, one over here, okay? And as I keep on going down through, you'll see some more here in a second, okay? So here's one over here, okay? So with this orange one is the last one that came up was right here, okay? So it's been a very long time since I've seen a 1 come up, okay? So you can see over here a 3, a 4, a 2, and now it has a chance to be a 1, okay? So I think that this is going to be a 0 right here, okay? And that means that none of these orange numbers, I believe, will not be coming up, okay? So if I don't think that these orange numbers are going to come up in the lottery, then I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to eliminate these orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, so again, the game card represents the current 69 numbers here. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, and down below here, you can see group 1, option card number 2, no orange numbers, and you can see that there's no orange numbers here. Okay, so again, I don't think they're going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. So as I go back to this group 1 here, I want to show you how this works. Okay, so you can see that the 69 number right here, this shares the square with the 53. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, you can see this 53 is off here to the left. Okay, now the reason why that's like that is I'm going to show you how this 8, this shares the square with the 66. Okay, so the reason why I don't have the 8 crammed in here with the 66 is because of the color code. Okay, so you can see that the 8 is orange and the 66 is green. Okay, so I need some separation that way. Okay, but if I decide to get rid of all these numbers like I did, that means I'm going to get rid of the 53 and the 69 as a group. Okay, so this just helps me group up numbers. Okay, so all I'm doing here is grouping up numbers and trying to predict whether they're going to come up or not come up in the lottery. Okay, so and that's it. Okay, so having it like this gives me a way of grouping things up and keeping this grid of 64 is what I want. Okay, because everything's nice and even. I got 8 numbers going this way, and I got 8 numbers going down here. Okay, so everything's in a nice little grid for me. Okay, so if I add these numbers in here, I could keep that grid. Okay, so if I add the 8 into the 66 square, I could keep that grid of 64. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1, and my next pick is going to be option card number 5, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one here is because one of these green numbers have come up in the last 22 drawings. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we had a long run of hits here, and I just think that it's due. Okay, due to miss. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. And again, if there's a 0, then that means that none of these green numbers will be coming up in the next drawing. And that's what I hope will happen. Okay, so in the last drawing, you can see that none of these orange numbers came up. Okay, so again, I'm hoping that no green numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to go to the game card, and I'm going to eliminate those green numbers off of the game card here. All right, so this is what the game card looks like so far. All right, I'm starting to whittle down the numbers here. All right, so I'm going to go back to group 1. And my next pick is option card number 7, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 7. And the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit different. Okay, I may pick the red where you may pick the orange, or you may pick the green, or you may think it's going to be a row. Okay, so what this row is that there's only 4 groups of numbers, okay, 4 color groups, and there's 5 winning Powerball numbers. So all 4 of these groups could hit. And if it does that, I call that a row. Okay, so as I go back into the history of things, you can see where all these rows are. Okay, So I use this as trying to predict, sometimes I try to predict where this row is going to come up. Okay, so if I think it's going to be a row, then when I pick what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent all 4 colors on this option card. Okay, but I don't think that's going to happen this time. Okay, I think that this red is going to miss, and the reason why is because every once in a while you can see that a 1 will come up, and it will come up, and then it will be followed by another 1. Okay, so 1 1 right in a row like this. Okay, that happens a lot too. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that it has happened a lot. Here's another time right here. Here's another time down here. Okay, now over here in the red, it hasn't happened in a very, very long time. It happened right in the beginning. And I'll show you that right here. It happened right here. Okay, right in the beginning of when I started keeping track of this thing. Okay, so again, it hasn't happened in a very long time, and it seems to happen a lot. Okay, so I think it has a good opportunity of happening right here. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So I want to get rid of these red numbers. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so you can see option card number 7, no red numbers. Okay, so all those red numbers are gone now. All right, so that's all I'm going to pick from group 1. So I'm going to head off to the next strategy. Okay, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so again, the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is I'm going to point out this red area right here. Okay, I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. Okay, so I keep the stats for the red right down here. Okay, so in this group 2 here, I have 15 of these option cards as well. And I used all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so you can see what they look like here in group option card number 1. And now I'm going to go to option card number 2, and you can see how the difference is here. Okay, so the red is going from left to right, and over here it's going from top to bottom. Okay, so down here is where I keep the stats. Okay, so I like to keep track of every 5. Okay, every 5 drawings, and the reason why I do that is because it will show me a majority of things. Okay, so here you can see that there was 3 misses. Okay, so a 0 means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within this red area. And of course, this 2 means that 2 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so if there's 3 zeros within this 5 drawings, then I color the background blue for cold. If there's 3 hits or more, then I color the background red for hot. Okay, so as I head down through the stats of things, okay, I keep track from the top to the bottom. Okay, so you can see that things have gotten really, really hot, okay? And then it's starting to cool off here. Okay, so how I look at this is that I'm putting random in my favor now, okay? I think that I am anyways, okay? So because something is so random, it can't stay hot forever, it can't stay cold forever, okay? If it did, it wouldn't be random. Okay, so as I head down through, if something has been really, really hot, well, eventually it's going to turn cold. Okay, so I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so why this is colored yellow here is because I'm right on the brink. Okay, I had 4 drawings, and now I'm waiting for this 5th one to come up to let me know what the color is going to be, if it's going to be blue or if it's going to be red. Okay, so the reason why it's yellow is because it's even. I got 2 misses and 2 hits. So this next drawing is really going to put it over the edge here. Okay, so you can see over here, this one's already decided. Okay, there's already been 4 hits. The majority is already hit, so it's going to be hot. Okay, so I already colored that red. And over here, you can see that the majority is already cold because there's 3 hits to it. Okay, but right here, this yellow, I don't know what this is going to be. Okay, so if I think that this is going to be blue, then that means I don't believe that any of these numbers are going to come up. Okay, and we'll see what that one is, and that's the orange. Okay, so if I don't believe that any orange numbers will be coming up, I'll be eliminating all these orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, but that's not what I'm going to do here. Okay, my pick is here at option card number 2, no green numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the green. And as I head down through, you can see that things have been pretty hot. Okay, now they got really, really hot. And now I think that this is going to be 0. And I think that this is going to be blue, a background of blue. Okay, so as I head back up, again, I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up in the drawing, so I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so let me bring this back down to 90%. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see option card number 2, no green numbers. And you can see that there's no green here anymore. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and I'm going to make a bunch of picks here. Okay, so my next one is option card number 3, no blue numbers. Okay, so you can see the blue of 1 down to 65, and then the 38 down to the 62. And here's the stats for the blue. So as I head down through, you can see things got really, really hot, and now I think they're going to start cooling off. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so as I head back up through, again, I don't believe that any of these blue numbers will be coming up, so I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. And you can see group 2, option card number 3, no blue numbers, and you can see that all these blue numbers are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and my next pick is option card number 4, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the gray. And as I head down through, you can see that things started out really hot, and they've been really hot, and now I think they're going to cool off here. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So I'm going to get rid of any gray numbers still left on the game card. And that's from the 17 to the 20 and the 69 to the 56. Okay, so here it is, the 18, 19, 67, and that's it. So I'm going to scroll to the left now. And you can see group 2, option card number 4, no gray numbers, and you can see that they're all gone here, including that 19, which is off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is option card number 8, no gray numbers. So again, I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, so here's the stats for the gray. And as I head down through, you get to see things that they've been like 50-50 all the way down. Okay, but I think this is gonna start to cool off here. I think there's gonna be a 0 right here. So I want to get rid of any gray numbers that are on here that are still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll over. So far, it's the 3, 10, the 35, 42, 51, and 68. And as you can see, that those are all gone now. Okay, so I hope that none of those numbers come up because I just got rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is option card number 11, no blue numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the blue. And as I head down through, you can see that things have been like 50-50 all the way down. Now it got really, really hot right here, and now I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which will make this a blue background. Okay, so I think that's going to happen. So I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers right here. So I'll take a look at the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left. And you can see that those blue numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one last pick. And that's option card number 14, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's the option card 14. Here's the gray. And as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really, really hot here. Okay, and now I think it's going to get really, really cold for a little while. Okay, so I don't think that any of these gray numbers will be coming up. So I want to get rid of them. And I think the only one left is like the 57 over here, I do believe. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the left. You can see that 57's gone now. Okay, so that's all I'm going to eliminate off of the game card. Okay, so again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers. And now I'm down to 1, 2, and 3 is 5, and 5 is 10. Okay, so now I'm down to 10 numbers. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks, okay, and the key word here is if I made all the correct picks, and none of the numbers that I said weren't going to come up don't come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so now I need to pinpoint which ones those are, so I'm going to turn to my next strategy. Okay, strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, and how I came up with this and why I came up with this is because one time about 2 years ago, I reduced the numbers down to 10, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within those 10 numbers that I still had on the board. Okay, I only correctly picked 2 numbers that day. Okay, so I looked at it. I mean, after I picked those 2, after I got the 5 white winning Powerball numbers within the 10 that I still had, I looked at it and I said, wow, I really think I'm onto something here. You know, I did what I wanted to do. I wanted to give myself a much better chance at winning. Okay, so, but since I only got 2 correct, I looked at it and said, okay, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so now I keep track of that, and I try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is that over here, this 264, this is how many drawings I kept track of so far, and that's since October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? And out of that 264 drawings, 134 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 130 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So how I do this is, again, I like to break things down into 5 because I want to see what the majority has been for those 5 drawings, okay? So this last 5 drawings here, you can see that the majority was evens. And as I head down through, you can see that the majority was odds, 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 okay? So, you know, I like to go down a little bit and then work my way back up. So I see a couple of evens, odds, evens, evens, odds, 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 evens. And now I'm here at this where there's 2 evens and 2 odds. So what's it going to be? Okay, so for me, I think it's going to be the majority of even numbers. Okay, so I think this will go up to 131. Okay, so we'll see what happens. You might look at it different and you might say odds. Okay, So over here, the next one is high and low. You can see that 129 drawings have been the majority to the high side, and 135 drawings have been the majority to the low side. Okay, so you can see that 3 of them were here. In the last 3 drawings, the majority has been to the low side. Okay, so for this one, I think it's going to be the majority to the right, to the high side here. Okay, so moving on. Here, left and right, you can see that this is really close. Left has the majority of 133 drawings, and the right has the majority of 131 drawings. Okay, so since this has hit 3 drawings in a row, I think it's going to be more to the right side than the left side. Okay, and the last one I have is this red and blue area here. Okay, so this is another 50-50 thing here. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here because the red has such a majority of 150 drawings, so 114. I think it might be blue, but I'm not going to really guess at this one. I'm going to stick to the other 2. Okay, so one last thing that I have, and this is for the red number right here. Okay, the red Powerball number, the last one was 15. Okay, so with the red number, there's 26 red numbers. Okay, so over in this column here, if you see a blue number, then that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, so over in this column here, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds, and if you see a blue number, that means it's evens. Okay, so for me, I just like looking at the colors now. Okay, so now I can see that this has been a really long red streak here. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's going to stay red or not. Okay, but over here, for this, I think it's going to be red over here. Okay, so I think the Powerball number is going to be evens. I'm not sure if it's going to be high and a high even number or a low even number. I just think it's going to be, I think it's going to be red, so I think it's going to be an odd number. Okay, again, I'm not sure if it's going to be a high odd number or a low odd number. I just think that it's going to be an odd number. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll down. So you can see the 50-50 picks here. Okay, so again, I thought the majority would be even numbers. Okay, I actually thought it was going to be high as well and to the right. Okay, so I'm off to my next strategy, and that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from groups 1 and 2. Okay, but I'm just going to stick to group 2 here. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors, as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that I have 15 of these red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange areas, and so on. Okay, so I like to keep track of that, and I call that the group 2 overview. Okay, so I keep the group 2 overview over here. Okay, so I'm going to get to that right now. Okay, so this is what I call the group 2 overview. So here on those red areas, on the left side are the hits. On the right side is the misses. Okay, so you can see that in the last drawing, there was 8 hits, 7 misses within those red areas of group 2. Okay, so as I go back to group 2, what I mean is this red area here, this red area over here, okay, and so on. Okay, so why this is colored red and why this is colored blue is because the magic number here is 8, okay? It's right in the middle of 15, okay? So if there's 8 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. If there's 8 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so now I just look at the colors again. Okay, so if I see like this purple area has a long streak of misses, okay, a long streak of blue, well, eventually it's going to turn red. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so what I'm going to pick is this yellow area over here. I think that this is going to be red over here, right here. So that means I think there's going to be lots of hits and few misses. Okay, so as I go back here to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the right. And again, you can see lots of hits among the yellow areas of group 2. Okay, so what that means is as I go back to group 2, the yellow area here is the 66 down to the 64. Okay? So now I just have to see what's left. And what's left is the 16, the 48, and the 64. So I wrote those down, the 16, the 48, and the 64. Okay, so I'm going to do one more, and that's option card number 2. You can see that the yellow area runs from the 57 over to the 64. So I look to see what's left. It's the 59, the 60, and the 64. So up here on number 2, the 59, 60, and 64. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards. Okay, and these are the numbers that I came up with. Sorry, that's supposed to be... Okay, so I'm off to my next strategy, and that's strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right here. Okay, and the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 34, 47, 48, 60, and 64. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 11 hits, 4 misses. Okay, so as I go down through, that means 11 option cards had a hit to it, 4 option cards had a miss to it. Okay, so you can see that option card number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all had hits. And then the 7, 8, 9, 10 all had misses. And then the 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 all had hits. And again, that means 11 of those option cards had hits, 4 had misses. Okay, so as I go back to the Group 2 overview, I'll show you a visual on how I think this will look here. Okay, so there's the 11, there's the 4. And again, I'm just going to color this red. Okay, so that's what I think is how it will look. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card here. So again,